Hello everybody and welcome to another Zwift analysation. Is that a word? But today we're back at Crit City and we're actually going to analyse two races in one to begin with, and then we're going to move over to, in my opinion, one of the best Zwift races around, period. It is of course the legend that is Cameron Jeffers, and yeah, I do say that with an ounce of bias, but let's watch the race. Let's analyse the race and I'll tell you why I think that Cameron is one of the best Zwift racers ever. But before we get into his, make sure you hit that subscribe button, okay? What I wanted to do was compare a B start to an A start. So I've raced the Crit City the last couple of weeks now and I'm really enjoying this track. But I always say a B start is always harder than an A group start. I don't know why, but I always thought it was. I always felt that when there's A's and B's together, it's never quite as full on. When I've raced in the A's, it's never felt quite as full gas as a B race does. So I wanted to put that to the theory here. So I've lined up both our videos here and we're just going to play them through for the first lap and see how we get on. So you can see both off to a very good start. That's one thing you have to do on a Zwift race. Get off to a decent start, because you'll soon get mobbed because everyone goes fast. But you can see within 2 or 3 seconds there's a difference already. We both set off at the same time, right? Watch those heart rates as well, raising very similar pace, wattage not far off where we both are. But what you'll see over the next couple of corners is the A group just take off. Now obviously they're much stronger, they're fitter, they're lighter riders, so they move through the air a lot quicker than a B group technically, because B groups aren't quite as fit and their FTP is way down. But the difference is insane. Like I'm at 400 watts there, Cam's just under 400 watts. 169, heart rate 170, 168, 169 for Cam. So, well, you know, we're pushing out similar watts, but look how far Cameron is ahead, because he just doesn't weigh as much and he's clearly stronger. But what I'm saying is he can maintain this pace, whereas I can't. He could maintain this pace for a few hours, but I can't maintain this pace for a few hours. But on a first lap, we should be there or thereabouts together. Now Cameron really accelerates up this climb, and you can see as he comes over under the bridge, he's past the bridge at 1 minute 19. 1 minute 19, and I'm not even going round the right hander there. So 6 seconds ahead of me already on one lap, and that's the whole of the A group, or at least the front of the A group. So you can see just how much quicker an A group is compared to that B group. And as we look at Cameron's there, he got off to a good start, not really panicking. He's had a few red spikes, but I know my graph's in the way here, but you can see that my graph is much redder than his. I'm on the absolute rev limiter, just trying to stay up with these guys. He's taking it relatively easy, and he's in 11th place. He looks very comfortable. His heart rate now has started to stabilise just under 170, and I'm still rising. I'm still getting up around 180 just to try and make sure I stay with this B pack. So it's insane the pace of an A group, and as we stop it here, you can see that the A group are just passing under the banner. I've barely even gone round the final hairpin, such is the speed. So I take back everything I ever said about an A group being easier than a B group. It clearly isn't easier. The only difference really is the fact that Cameron's only doing 8 laps and we're doing 12 laps, but on a circuit as short as this, shouldn't really matter. So we pick up Cameron's race now here. 7 laps to go, and you can see here we've got a Canyon DHB powered by Saurine rider in there. So he's one of the only professional riders in this race, and that's Matthew Bostock, cracking rider from the Isle of Man. As I say, Cameron got off to a good start. It's much of a muchness here. You can see that a lot of aeros are being put down. A lot of transit vans are being put down as well, because people obviously felt that start was relatively hard and they need a little bit of respite, a little bit of chill time to find their pace and find their rhythm. But with a race like this in the A group, it's barely going to slow down at any point. You can see here that Cameron's already picked up an aero as well. Now, I remember a race that Cam did, I can't remember when it was, sometime last year I think, where he lost a race because he'd used an aero at some point. He'd harvested one and then used it at some point and then ultimately lost the race. So someone with Cameron's ability and Cameron's skill should hold on to that aero. And I think in the stream there, he was asking for an aero, he got an aero, and by the sound of it, he was willing to keep that to the end of the race. Worst case scenario, if a brake went up the road or he was feeling really crap, he could use it because he's now got another 7 opportunities to get that power up again. Me personally, I'd be smashing this right now. Such is the speed and power of this race. I mean, I couldn't. I might be still with this group, but I will be absolutely on the rev limiter right now. Whereas, if you look here down here, that we're entering into blue territory, and what you'll see through the rest of the video is a lot of grey territory as well, where Cameron can just ease up. Just here, if you notice, he's using a mouse on a wall, which is, I mean, that's new to me. I don't know if that's a secret Zwift hack, but I don't know exactly why he's using his mouse. Clearly, he's changing the angles, giving the people what they want. And here he is at the back of the group. Now, I always tell people, this is dangerous. That's dangerous from Cam. I don't know why he's doing that, but you can see here that here's the map, here's the riders, and you can see that there's already a select group. Cameron's near the back, maybe 40 riders in this group. So as I've said before in past analysis, keep an eye on your groups, keep an eye on how many people are in there. And I think, ultimately, this is pretty much it now. Cameron's stabilised his heart rate, he's stabilised his power, he's in the group, he's where he needs to be, and I don't think we're going to see much else for the next couple of laps. So what I'll do is we'll just fast it on without going too far. And you can see, even at this speed, you can see Cam just sits in the group, nice and easy, nothing too strenuous, knocks it up to around 400, 500, potentially 600 watts here on the climb. Lots of aero power-ups going off, so you know that everybody's trying to get as much rest as they can. Cameron, however, still holds on to his aero power-up, so he's clearly keeping that for the end. So we pick back up in the action here, 4.3 kilometers from the end. I'd like to say that there's a lot in there to analyse during that middle part of the race, but there really isn't. The way Cameron rides, you can see along the bottom here now how much blue there is, how much grey there is, how little these spikes go up, and for how and a short period of that they are. It shows you just how you need to ride Zwift. You need to sit on the wheels. You need to learn the draft, and you need to be committed to know that draft is there. So don't push yourself out to the front. And if you watch your stream back, I don't even think he ever touches the wind. I think he sits never more than 2 riders are in front of him, never less than 2 riders are in front of him as he makes his way to the front, drops his way to the back. And when he does this, when he comes to the back here, towards the back of the pack, he always does it at the right time. It's not like he's at the back of the pack when he's at the climb and all of a sudden that pack goes, or at the top of the climb, or through the undulation. He's always there or thereabouts where he needs to be, and that's one important factor for this track. Is the majority of the race is won or lost just after that climb. Yes, the climb is important, but it's what happens after that climb. How many people are still pressing on after that climb? Because if people are on 0 trainer difficulty, they're not going to feel this climb. So what they're going to do is they're going to press on because everybody else is. They're going to press on, and when they get to the top, if you've got trainer difficulty on, you're going to feel that ease in that resistance, which is going to force you to feel like you can ease up a little bit. But those with trainer difficulty at 0, if they've started pressing on, they could easily keep pressing on here and not really feel a difference in their legs and feel that effect of that resistance change. So they're still going to be pressing on here. So anyone who has that training difficulty up, you've still got to keep pressing on here, because this little straight bit of road here before it goes down into the undulations and around and then back for the for the final lap is essential that you are near the front. And you can see here that Cam's at the back after everything I said about him being in a good position, but he's clearly He's clearly feeling comfortable. His heart rate here is at 167. I mean, his max heart rate is near 200, over 200 in fact. So he's not. Look at him. He's chatting away to his. He's chatting away here to his stream. So he's clearly comfortable. He's not too worried about anybody going up the road and attacking out of this group. I think everybody's just on their limit where there's no point attacking. And you look, there's 2 kilometers to go. That's the final lap. Kept his aero all the way through. Now here, what's he got to do? He's got to make sure he's in the right position. He's got to try and save as much energy as possible. What else he should be doing right now, and what I'm doing, is picking up on the fact that this guy has used his bonus. So that guy's got no bonus. So that's one less person you really need to worry about in that sprint. Yeah, they might be a strong sprinter, but you can't help thinking if he's using a bonus that early, he's not going to have something for the sprint. He's probably very, very tired and hanging on for grim death here. We know that Cameron, this boy right here, has got a solid sprint. He's got a really, really good sprint, in excess of 1300 watts when he's feeling fresh. But we've seen here on this Crit City circuit that it's a sprint that's often started at a really high wattage. So as we come around this corner here, we're going to head up the climb. Let's see how many feathers are hit. Let's see how many arrows are hit. Let's see what other power-ups people are using. So 1 feather here. I mean, the transit van, I would potentially save a little bit later. Just get up here in the front. And there you go. Cameron's here. Matt Bostock's there. These right here, and a couple from behind, are the ones that are going to be fighting for this sprint. Anybody else who's stretched out up here, you can see that they've stretched out a little bit. They're going to have to work, these ones here are going to have to work really hard to try and, 1, bridge the gap back to these, and then go through them on the sprint. As we go through the undulation, Cameron is perfectly placed. You've got one rider just there who went for a big long one, and that encouraged everybody else to do the same. So someone's hitting the feather there. That could be Bostock hitting that feather there. I'm not too sure. But Cameron's in the wheel, still getting the draft. He's still getting the draft, and he's going past people like they're sat still. Arrows are being hit. Cameron, so let's just pause it here. Let's just take this back a little bit. Now, lots of people have hit their arrows there. Prior to him hitting the last lap, a business partner and man who knows Zwift like the back of his hand, Tim Fulford, he was in the chat. He's kind of DSing the Wahoo LaColle team, and he's trying to give tips and tricks and trying to make it as easy as possible for the riders to succeed in their races. One thing he said, bearing in mind that Tim is rarely wrong, Tim said,
use the arrow as you exit the corner.
And the chat went mad saying, use it earlier, use it earlier. And I was like, nah, Tim's probably right. Tim he won't be far off wrong with that, because obviously the arrow's been reduced now from 30 seconds down to 15 seconds. So you only get a short burst of arrow. So you don't want to be getting towards that line having no arrow left. And at the same token, you don't want to be having arrow after the line. So let's just keep running that through again. Cameron's getting ready. Hits his arrow at this zebra crossing here, right? People have already hit there, so he's already got an advantage. And he is 5th wheel here. He's 5th wheel. Sprint started now, though. The only criticism I've got of Cam is potentially he should have started that sprint a little bit earlier. It kind of really plays with your mind the fact that you're starting a sprint and you've still got a turn to go. You're going to sprint through a hairpin essentially. So we take that back to here. He's already at 670 watts. So he's already on the limit, but the sprint needs to start now. Bang. And it's not a million miles away. He's not a million miles away, but I just feel like he should have started his sprint just that tiny bit earlier, because you can just see 1, 2, 3 riders are in front, and he was catching them. But let's take it back again. So he was catching those 2 riders in front. 2 riders, sorry, in front. And he dropped the rest of them. But let's have a look here as he comes over the line. Bang, right? Look how much aero boost he's still got. Look at that. He's still got another 3 seconds potentially of aero. So he hits that air earlier. He's catching these 2 here. So he starts his sprint a little bit earlier, 2 seconds, 3 seconds earlier, boy's winning the race. Boy is winning the race. Even in front of this thing here. 977 watts. 977 watts. 12.5 watts a kilo. Wait, oh no, he finished. Oh, I've just realised. That's strange. He finished it in a time of 15 minutes 34. That's a bit weird, isn't it? So yeah, clearly Cameron got second place in that, but he would have won that sprint had he just started a little bit earlier. And that's all good and well saying that. It's easy to say that when he's already on 700 watts and it's hard to get that elevate that sprint to the next level. But that's what he should have done. Whether he could have or not is another story, but there you go. That's Cameron Jeffers' Zwift race. Phenomenal rider, knows how to ride in the wheels, knows how to use a draft, strong, powerful, and he's got a decent sprint. That's why I think Cameron Jeffers is one of the best Zwift riders on the planet. Leave your comments down below and disagree with me if you want. And listen, I know that there are some strong Zwift riders. Strong Zwift riders. But I do believe that this kid is very special on Zwift. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure if you haven't already done it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let me know down. What? And let me know down in the comments below, what race would you like me to analyse? Would you like me to go and race a specific race myself and then analyse it, or would you like me to analyse somebody else's race? If they give me permission to do it, I shall do it. But until then, thanks for watching. Bye.